Hi, Amy.
Hi, how you going?
I'm good. How are you?
Thank you.
Excellent. Beautiful. Hi, Catherine. No one's talking to me. That's fine.
Hi.
Hi, Catherine. How's it going?
Good, thanks.
Good. Awesome. Awesome. Just wait for everyone else. Dasha's joining us. That's awesome. Fab. Oh, okie dokie. She's joining. Okay, cool. Welcome, ladies. Good to have you here. It's nice to see your faces. Hi, Dasha. How are you going?
Good. I feel a little bit sick today still.
Oh dear, that's not good. How have you been this week? Since last week, so you were really poorly last week, hey?
Still sick.
Have you had a COVID test?
No, it's just stomach bug pretty much.
Oh, okay, fair enough. Yeah, no, you don't need a COVID test.
No.
We'll forget about that. That's fine. That's fine. I feel like I'm getting a COVID test almost every week at the moment. It's crazy. It's always working with the public and getting a sniffle. And I'm like, okay. And off they go, and off you go again. It's quite good fun. Okay, so we were talking about complaints and complaints handling. I'll just shut my door quickly. Okay, so complaints handling. So can anybody tell me what's the first stage of complaints handling? What do we need to do when someone comes into us with a complaint?
Listen to them.
Listen to them, absolutely. Document it, and then we try and find a solution. But that first step is actually actively listening, facing our client, having positive body language, soft eyes, an empathetic nature about us, and actually listening and understanding what it is our clients are telling us. Okay, really important. And then work towards a strategy for resolving that issue. Okay, beautiful. And the next thing is, how do we process refunds? If we're offering a refund, how do we process it? Each individual workplace has their own ways of processing a refund, if that's what we're offering. Okay, I usually offer an exchange or another service before I give them their money back. Okay, because that means they're gone, they're checked out, they're not going to come back. Whereas if you can replace the product, if you can replace the service and actually offer to do the service again, give them a gift certificate, they have to come back. Okay, sometimes you don't want them to come back and then you just give a refund and that's totally fine. But you have to work within your procedures of your salon that you are working at. So most workplaces will require proof of purchase to give an actual refund, such as a receipt. You may need to fill in a workplace documentation for a refund, for instance. If they want an exchange, again, it has to be following the policies of your salon where you're working. Really important. And you'll need to complete documentation, any documentation that your workplace requires of you, because if you're replacing a product, there's obviously stock control that's going in there. You're going to lose an item off the shelf, as well as the item that has been returned to you. If you're giving complimentary treatments or services, your manager may decide to give a customer extra treatments or services if the complaint has been about a service that a customer has received. Remember, we want that chance to make our clients feel valued and really enjoy the beautiful services that we can offer our clients, because you're professionals, you know you're doing a good job, and you want everyone to experience that. So, and sometimes complaints can be to do with something out of your control. It's like recently there's roadworks happening outside the salon where we are, and we had a full day of facial treatments. We could hear was a pneumatic drill outside, and we ended up having to give clients free treatments because the treatments were not relaxing for anybody. We basically pretty much lost, well, we lost a few hours taking this because they were using this annoying drill. We had 5 treatment rooms open. So big cost to the company, but our clients came back and, you know, they know that they can come and enjoy a beautiful experience. And we recognize the fact that that wasn't the way that we run our company, and that isn't the way that we perform treatments with that background noise. We want them to be able to enjoy having a gorgeous treatment and come back and do so when it's quiet. You know, we've had times when the electricity has gone off in the building, and, you know, we've got lots of candles and things like that, and generally speaking, that's fine. But also means you don't have access to hot water once the hot water runs out. So that makes it hard if you needed hot water. So for certain treatments, and, you know, using a nail drill, couldn't use a nail drill. I still did nails, I had daylight, that was fine. And I just hand filed, and that was okay. But some treatments were in rooms with no windows, so it was dark. And you had candlelight, which isn't suitable for, you know, waxing when the wax pots are getting cooler as the minutes go by. So some people you have to rebook, other treatments you can still do in a dark room. You've got to judge it accordingly. So if you have a complaint, how are you going to resolve it? What follow-up action is there going to be? And what should you do if you can't resolve a complaint? These are questions that you need to think about. All right. So a client complains that they have seen, let me think about this. So imagine a client comes in and their nails are lifting. And it's been a week since they had their nails done. What would you do? I want you to write it down. What would you do? A client came in, and they complained that their nails were lifting after a week. What would be your line of questioning? Have a look, think about that. I'm going to give you a couple of minutes to think about what questions you would ask your client in that situation. So they've come in, it's only been 1 week since their application of nails, and they're all starting, or most of them are starting to lift or have lifted. Okay. Catherine, what questions would you ask?
I would ask what they've been doing with their hands, and if they've been wearing gloves while doing like housework, like dishes and stuff.
Yeah.
And like gardening as well. Sorry, so awkward.
Yeah, that's all right. Yeah. So what tasks have they been doing with their nails over this past week?
Yeah.
What we're trying to find out is there anything that could have caused that lifting? You know, is there undue stress that they're putting on them? You know, do they like to have long baths at the end of their day and they're soaking their fingers in the water? Have they read their aftercare receipt that you gave them, their little aftercare card that you gave them when they left? Don't submerge the nails in water. Keep them dry. Don't use your nails as tools, that kind of thing. What have they been doing with them? And what else? Desha, what have you got written down there? I think your camera's frozen. Amy, what have you got written down?
Yeah, so very similar. So discuss, when did they notice that they started to lift?
Yeah.
Were there any activities? Have they been moving house, decorating, things like that? Have they been following their aftercare sheet? And then internally thinking back, have I had any other clients this last week with the same issue? Has this client done this in the past? So calling on that to see maybe there was a product issue, if I've had other complaints that week as well.
Absolutely. Just writing all this down, so I'm going to write it in our discussions page later. Yeah, so all of these things are very, very important questions that you need to ask. So if you've got a client that's lifting, you need to think back. As her internet dropped out then, I think. So lots of different questions there. And Christine, do you have anything to add to that? So far we've got, for a client that's experiencing lifting, it's been the first week, she's called up, she's complaining that they're lifting. So what have they been doing? Have they been wearing gloves? Are they doing the dishes? Are they having long baths? Are they submerging them in water? Have they been following their aftercare sheet? Really, really important question. That's why we give it to them, okay? Really good question from Amy there. When did they start lifting? Okay, and that will tell you a lot. If they started, so for me, I have really oily nail plates, generally speaking, especially on a couple of my nails. My first fingers, they're flat, super, super flat, super, super oily. It's a royal pest. And literally, I will put my nails on and I will watch them lift. Literally, they will already have started lifting by the end of the day. And it's a proper pest, but there's nothing I can do about it. I've tried priming them and it helps a bit. I get about 3 days before I start lifting and then they start lifting. But I'm also really hard on them from that point forth. Sometimes I just have to glue them down again and that's fine. But theoretically, that can stick bacteria down underneath the nails and it's not good. I don't have anything on anymore because I can't wear them. I can't do massage with them, it's impossible. So anyway, you need to ask these questions. Have they been following their aftercare? Are there any formulation issues that you can think of? So usually I start, and another question, are you on any new medication? It's a big question. Or are you on any medication you didn't tell me about before? Because if your client's had an infection and she's on antibiotics, it will cause the nails to lift. Okay, if a client's been on, or if they've been on them recently within the last month, 6 weeks, something like that, it can cause them to lift. Okay, because our bodies, basically antibiotics make the body reject anything that's abnormal, that doesn't belong to it, that's not natural, you know, makes it fight everything that's not there. So it goes, nails, I don't want those on, I'm going to push them off and they can start lifting. Doesn't happen to everybody, but I have seen it in the past with certain clients, which is quite interesting. So anyway, little fun fact there for you. So find out the root of the problem. What's happening with their nails? And try and find out a why. Why have they started lifting? Have you had nails on before? That's another question. So have you had nails on before? Have you ever experienced this issue before? And it could be the formulation. It could be the product just isn't suitable for them. However, you can be like, right, well, let's double prime them this time. Let's give that a go. You know, is the length, you've got to question the length of the nails. How long are these nails that they have? Is it practical for them? Are they just all fingers and thumbs? Because if you're going to have any breakages, it's going to be in the first week of them having on a new set. Guaranteed, because your clients need to get used to them. Usually within the first week, I'd expect some form of something going on with them, because clients, especially if they've not had nails on before, it takes a bit of getting used to. Some people like to tap their fingers on keyboards, and that just sends shock waves into the nail plate, and it can cause breaking, like little fractures in the nails. People don't realize that. They're like, oh, I've got nails, I can click type. No, they're not indestructible. Okay. Yes, they're hard wearing, generally speaking, but they must be treated with respect. Otherwise they will break, because essentially they're little bits of plastic stuck on the end of your fingers. They're not indestructible. All right. So what are they doing with their nails? Have they worn them before? What activities have they been doing this week? What do they do for a living? And you'll be like, oh, you work in aged care, or oh, you're a nurse, or, you know, I work in a factory. Well, your hands on. So how about, and you know, you've asked for a really nice, beautiful coffin or stiletto, and you've got gorgeous long nails, and that might have been really nice for that date night that you had at the weekend, but for during the week, let's cut them down a bit. Let's get that length off, or let's change the shape from a square to a squoval, or more of a round. Take those edges off so you're not going to catch them as quickly, and alter the shape so they can still wear their nails, but in a more practical and elegant manner. Okay. Some people can wear really long nails and they can do anything with them and they don't break them and they're fantastic. And I love those clients, they're brilliant. However, not everybody can do that. I can't do that. I can't deal with long nails. I love them. But as I say, I do too many facials, I do too much massage, I do way too much cleaning, and waxing. I do a lot of Brazilian waxing, and I don't need to be poking my clients or poking my nails through my gloves. It's not hygienic, to be quite honest. You know, hello, Papa, little cutie. No, mine are at daycare today. My house is peaceful, it's marvelous. Okay, so these are the questions that we need to find out from our client to build a bigger picture of the situation with their nails, okay? Because they're just going to come in, then it's going to be like, my nails are awful, you're a terrible technician, my nails shouldn't be. I spoke to my friend and she's had nails for years and her nails never lift and she doesn't have any issues with them. I'm like, yeah, but you're not her, your nail's different, no two nail plate is alike, and what are you doing with your nails? Have you worn nails before? She's obviously used to them. She's had them on for years. It becomes second nature and she's respectful to them. That's why they last. What are you doing to your fingers? And I'm not playing the blame game or anything like that. I just want to build a bigger picture about what are you using your nails for? What does your daily routine look like? Can you identify something that they're doing that could be causing the lifting? Or is it just that they have a slightly oilier nail plate, or they're on medication or have been on medication recently that could possibly cause them to lift? Are they super, super stressed at the moment? You know, stress can do weird things to us, can affect a whole manner of different things. Okay. And then after that, we need to find a solution, because we don't want those nails to lift. We want our clients to be happy. So we can drill them back. You might even do a free infill this time, or a half price infill or something like that. Do any replacements that need doing. Maybe double prime. Really make sure that you've prepped that nail plate, that you've really pushed back all those cuticles, making sure that there's no product placement anywhere near the skin. Because if there's any product on the cuticle, it will lift. Okay, there needs to be that boundary gap. Okay, it doesn't mean it looks like they've grown out already, but it's like a minuscule little gap between the skin and the product on the nail plate. Tiny, tiny. Okay. So if it touches, the skin moves and the product will lift. And you'll get water under it and bacteria and debris, and the cycle continues. Okay. Make sure your product placement is correct. Maybe do a double prime. Use your primer twice. So round each 10 fingers, 10 digits, and then go back and do it again. You don't put more on the first time, because all it's going to do is bleed into the cuticle and burn the client and actually cause a chemical burn. You're better off doing two really tiny microscopic coats of primer than one big one, okay? Because it dries instantly anyway. And then put either your gel or acrylic on over the top. Okay. You might just want to do another cure. Harden them up that little bit more, perhaps. Maybe you didn't cure them enough under the light. If you're doing gel, maybe that could be the thing that happened. Is it anything that you maybe did? Did you miss a step and you go, oh, I didn't prime them? Shit. Let's do that this time. Let's make sure that we really do prevent that lifting by creating a really good secure bond. You know, take that length down, see if that works for them. Let's try a slightly shorter nail this time. It could be that you're just banging them. You don't even realize you're doing it. You don't feel it, but you are putting on something's putting undue stress that is causing this lifting. The application I've done is correct. I haven't had this issue with anybody else. So I really want you to have beautiful nails, and I want to work with you to get that. But let's maybe shorten their nail a little bit, see if that works for you this time. I'm going to double prime, and then next time your nails will have grown out, and we can always work towards you getting used to having a beautiful, and we'll work towards that gorgeous stiletto and coffin that you really want to have. But we need to get you used to having nails to begin with, and give them another aftercare sheet. Okay. These kind of things. And that's where education comes with our client. So I can't remember if it was last week or whether it was a different class that I gave an example of a complaint that I had years ago when I worked on, what was I? Clinique, I think, Chanel Clinique. When I worked for Clinique, I was I used to be manager of the Clinique counter at Maya years ago for a very short amount of time. It wasn't really my cup of tea, but that was fine. Brilliant company. I used to work there, and I had a client come in and she was like, I don't like this makeup. It's rubbish. It's not working for me. And that's it. She's like, no, don't want it. I want a refund. And I was like, and in my back of my head, I'm thinking this product sells globally. It's like 3 a second or something, 3 units a second, this particular foundation. It was like their fastest selling, biggest global seller of product. And I used it myself as well. And I'm like, I know it's not a rubbish product. Going by her skin type and what her skin looks like, I'm like, there's no reason with my education in the product why this would be a rubbish product for her. I needed more information. I'm like, why isn't it working for you? No, it's rubbish. No, don't want it, don't want it. And I'm like, no, I need you to tell me. It's like, because this is a global selling product. This is like one of their #1 sellers. People rave about it. And I want to know, how are you putting it on? And it turns out she didn't know how. She wasn't a makeup wearer. She'd never worn foundation in her life. And she'd bought it. She had no idea how to put it on. So she was trying to rub it into her skin like moisturizer and wondering why it was streaky and not working for her, rather than blending and it sitting like a veil over the skin, cover up blemishes and marks and pigmentation and things like that. And I ended up selling her a proper makeup brush, a sponge, a powder, and a blusher and an eyeshadow or something ridiculous. Anyway, we ended up I gave her a makeup lesson. I taught her how she should be using the product correctly. And quite often that can be it. They go home, they think they see this product advertised on TV, or they hear about it, or you've recommended it to them, and they go home and they don't know how to use it. And they're like, oh, this is crap, don't like it. It's like, no, it's a really good product, you just don't know how to use it. And that's where education comes in. It's like our clients, they might think that you're a really rubbish nail technician because they don't know how to look after their nails at home. Okay. That's why it's really important. That's why we gave you that homework task to make an up when you were doing your gel unit last month. I gave you that homework task of make an aftercare sheet. Make something that you can pass on to your clients. Give them that information. Turn it into an appointment card. Have your logo on it with your number, with their next appointment on one side, and on the other side, they've got their aftercare information. That way you are, when you're rebooking them, you're giving them the information and you talk to them and go, this is what you need to do before your next appointment. Don't do this, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this. Right, you need to do this. Put cuticle oil anyway. You need this product. Take this with you today. Buy this cream. You need a nail strengthener, and this will look after your nails until your next appointment. Do you know what you need to do? And the clients will be like, yes, miss. And they'll buy the product and they'll rebook, and they know that you have an interest in them and you want them to look good and you want their nails to stay on. You're not just like, oh, bye, off doing the next one. Or you can just call to make your next booking, and they don't. People are too busy, they forget. Okay, get them booked in for their next 6 appointments. It's easier to move an appointment than to book it from fresh. All right, because people will think ahead. They'll be like, oh, I've got my roster, I've got my nail appointment in on that day. When they're putting it in their calendar or on their diary, they're like, oh no, I need to move that appointment, and they'll do it, which is a lot easier because we've done all the hard work. We've already booked it for them. Right? Really important. So, resolutions. What's that first step? Listen to your client. Second step, find a resolution. Okay, ask for help if you need to, refer it on, complete any documentation as per requirements. Make sure you're following all your protocols and procedures. Give them complimentary services if need be. I'm really sorry this has happened to you. Let's work towards a solution. Let's get these nails perfect. Let's try and stop this lifting happening again. Sometimes it does happen. It's one of those things. Everyone's nails are different. Let's get them sorted. Okay. Any questions with this so far? No? Excellent. So sometimes resolving a complaint can be as easy as giving your customer a complete explanation about the product or service that they're having and how it works. So how the nails work, how they adhere to the nails. Some people just think they're like a piece of concrete and they're invincible and they can do anything with them. That's not always the case. Okay. The more they break their nails, the more lifting they get, the more damage they get to their nail plates. Something we want to try and avoid, because each time that nail lifts, it takes a tiny little bit of nail plate with it. Every time you break a nail, you have to prepare that nail plate again for application. Make sure there's no shards of nail lifted, no flaps, no nothing like that. It's got to be smooth, well, etched, but with no little blunt bits sticking up that can hold bacteria. Okay. When you're out working in the beauty industry, either yourself or as an employer, your clients will have high expectations about how you operate your business and how you conduct yourself in the workplace. In order to be a successful person in the beauty industry, you'll need to know a lot more than just how to give a great treatment. You need to be able to communicate with others and conduct yourself professionally, ethically, and in accordance with legislation relevant to the workplace. Okay, and you need to be aware of these things. Oh, there's someone needing to be added. Someone on a Galaxy phone. Hello. Too easy. Welcome. Who's on here? Oh, hi Ruth. I just got your text. Hello. It's all right. Nice that you could join us. That's fine. So we've just been going through how to solve complaints, basically, and how we must work ethically within the workplace to get results and try and maintain happiness of our clients. And we were saying about issues that clients can have with their nails, the main one being lifting, and how we would resolve that issue. Okay, so mainly, and we've just nutted out some questions. So questions we could ask are, have you been following your aftercare sheet that we gave you? So so in the gel and acrylic, you'll have a homework task to make a aftercare sheet for your clients with aftercare advice that they must abide by, which is really good. And that's just an insurance policy for you, you know, because then you've verbally told them, but they've got it written down as well. And you'll be like, oh, so your nails are lifting. It's only been a week. Oh, I'm really sorry to hear that. Were you following the aftercare that I gave you? And they'll be like, oh, what aftercare? And I'll be like, remember I told you, and I also gave you that little card with your appointment on it. On the other side, there was actually aftercare information. So just making sure. So what activities have you been doing this week on your nails? And it's not like you're not blaming the lifting on the client, but you want to find out why is it lifted, because in theory, their product shouldn't lift. And if you've followed all your manufacturer's instructions, and if you've followed all your training, lifting essentially shouldn't happen unless they're abusing their nails, they're submerging them in water for long periods of time, knocking and banging the nails. The nails are too long, so they're not functional for that client, because some people can operate with really long nails and it's amazing, and I love these people who have beautiful, gorgeous long nails all the time, but not everyone can work with them. I can't work with long nails. I do too many other treatments and I'm all fingers and thumbs. But what are they doing? You know, Catherine was saying, have they been doing gardening with their gloves? Have they been doing the dishes, not wearing gloves? Are they, you know, when did they start lifting? Is another question. Have they been following their aftercare? Another thing, is there an issue with your formulation? When they came in, did you open up a new pot of acrylic or gel? Is there actually an issue with the formulation? Do you need to call other clients that were in on the same day that you had the same product used on them and ask the question, I just wanted to check, I've just had a client who's experiencing, you know, just wanted to check, how are your nails since your last appointment? I just want to get some feedback. And they'll be like, oh yeah, no, they're fine. I'm like, are you having any lifting issues? No, nothing. Or one of them might go, actually, yes, like my nails have been really weird this week. Like I'm actually starting to get some lifting. And you'll be like, right, well, let's get you in for some maintenance. And I'll get you in for a free infill next time you come in. Let's get you in. And then you can write to the company and go, look, I've opened this new pot. I've got 3 clients. They're all experiencing lifting with this. Is there a new application method that I'm not following, that I'm not aware of? Is there a different step, or is there an issue with the formulation? And they'll be like, oh, actually, there was an issue with that batch. What's the batch code number? And it'll be like a little number on the back. And they'll be like, oh, can you send that back to us, or just destroy it? You destroy that pot and we'll give you a credit to your file. And that's happened before with different companies. All right, all of these things are machine made and made in massive quantities, but everything has a batch code, and a batch code is for that particular batch, that particular recipe for those products that was produced on a certain day at a certain time, and it might be missing a molecule or an ingredient or something, or the wrong ratio of ingredients has been put in there. But it's important that we get to the bottom of it. Okay. All right. Another question. Have you had nails on before? It's another good question. And is the length okay for them? So these are all the things, so I'm just recapping for you, Ruth, because you've just joined us. Those are all the things that we would ask our clients before we offer a resolution. At the end of the day, we want our clients to be happy, we want our clients to return to us, and we want to create beautiful, perfect nails every single time. You're only as good as your last set of nails, so we need to make them good, okay? Because people talk in the community. Your nails are advertising your work every day, so they need to look good. You need to make sure those nails are balanced, that your shape is correct, that your C curve looks fabulous, your painting techniques are good. And you need to make sure that your clients are booked in for their refills and infills. Because if they're not, you're not guaranteeing your work. Okay. So you can get your clients in for a complimentary treatment. That's what I like to get people in for. So please, I'm really sorry you've experienced with lifting. Let's get you in again. Let's get you in. Let's get these sorted. Get them fixed. Okay. If you have a client that complains that she broke her nails too quickly, what would you do? Christine, I'm going to throw this question at you. If you had a client that came in and she broke her nails and it was because the gel was too thin, what would you do? How would you handle that situation?
If it was because the gel was too thin, I would offer her that I fix it for her, and I would, depending on the lengths, I would make a stronger apex.
Absolutely brilliant. Yep, for sure. And would you charge her for that?
No.
No, I wouldn't. When we've made a mistake, it's important we admit our mistakes. It makes us a better therapist. We are only human, we do make mistakes. Sometimes it's an oversight and we're like, oh, it's a bit thin on that, or it may have like lifted from the tip or something. And, oh, it's a little bit thin on that edge. I'm so sorry, that was an oversight by me. Let me do a complimentary replacement for you. I won't charge you for that replacement. That was my fault. And they're like, oh, okay. And they're fine. And they carry on coming and it's great. If you charge them for it, they'll be like, why should I wear the cost for that? She was the one that did them too thin in the first place. Okay. It shouldn't really take you any longer, really, especially with your e-files. They have their uses. You can easily file off an old one and pop a new one on with no drama whatsoever. Okay. If your smile line's not quite correct, exactly the same thing. Correct it, cover it with nail art, whatever you need to do. That's also okay. I used to have a therapist who made beautiful nails, but could not do a French backfill for love nor money. She was hopeless. So she would do what she would do, and then she'd cover it with nail art. She'd put like little sparkles around, and she could paint like a little line of sparkles to cover up her dodgy little smile line, or she'd get me. Or she'd just book the French backfills in with me, which was more often what would happen. But otherwise, yeah, she'd try and cover it with a nail art. And I'm like, it's taking longer to do nail art than what you would have done to create a perfect smile line. But anyway, it's quite funny. But practice makes perfect. And that's what you guys need to be doing. All right. So does everybody know what they need to be doing in regards to their assessments? You all understand what you've got to be doing? You're chipping away at that? Yeah? Good, 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 good. I am going to share my screen. Just go into our research and apply PowerPoint, which should be nice and easy when it decides to open. I'm trying to think, did we go through this? Yes, we did go through this, but that's fine. So this is everything that I've already gone through with you today in this PowerPoint. So everything that I've gone through is in the research and beauty industry information PowerPoint, which you'll find in your resources. It's all about duty of care, trade unions, also about product recommendations. So it is part of your duty of care to make sure that you are recommending products to your clients, and you should research and update your product knowledge on a regular basis. And what I always like to do is making sure that you recommend 3 products to your clients, minimum. And I do that for everybody. I do it for lash lifting. When I do that, I will recommend an organic mascara, a primer, like the Elibana protein treatment to maintain the strength of the lashes, an organic mascara, and then also an eye makeup remover. 3 products, always. Okay. When I'm doing henna eyebrows, I recommend some brow code oil, a pencil, if they need to fill in any little bits as their henna begins to fade, and again, an eye makeup remover that they can use that's suitable for the brows, or even an eye cream. When I'm doing nails, again, I'll recommend 3 products. You've got a nail strengthener. I'll sell them a nail file so they can file their own nails, or depending on the salon, you can give them the one that you've used on them that day. And I'll even retail them a little nail glue so that if they do get any lifting or they get a little breakage or something like that, they have the power to pop that back on if need be, because it's very easily removed when they come in for their treatment. Or some cuticle oil is another one. Cuticle oil sells like hotcakes. They need to be putting it on before they go to bed at night. Okay. Yeah. Slides, seeing if there's anything I've missed. So another thing to do with research, not just dealing with customer complaints, is when you learn new things, share it with your colleagues. Really, really important. If you find out that, for instance, one of the products that you have has something like a really cool little ingredient that you've researched, talk about it. Your clients love to hear about it. Plus, it pretty much guarantees you a sale. But for instance, I did some research into a retinol serum that we have at work that's just been launched. And I discovered it has Condus crispus in it, which is in a lot of skincare products. And Condus crispus is an algae, very commonly known as Irish moss. And this is just a little bit off the top of my head. And it's a super hydrator. It helps to bind moisture to the skin, and which in turn will help hydrate and improve barrier function of the skin, and also help to plump out fine lines and wrinkles, and also helps the rest of the ingredients penetrate into the skin deeper, apparently. It's a seaweed. Cool. It's got seaweed in it. Okay, it does all these fantastic things. All right, so if you can find out information about the ingredients that are in your products, Google what those ingredients do within the skin, head to the manufacturer's website if need be. That will often have information, but quite often not in great detail. But have a little look at what the ingredients are on the back of the box and research them. Really interesting stuff. Fascinating ingredients within products. And we need to know what they do for the skin. We need to know what they do for the nails and why. What's in your nail strengthener that you're trying to retail, and why have you chosen that one to retail, apart from the fact it might be a good price point for you? Okay. I used to love, there was a really good nail strengthener for soft nails, and it was called Million Nails by Essie. Still my favourite nail strengthener of all time. But I didn't used to retail it, I just used to use it on myself. I've got no idea what's in it, but it was really good, and it does make my nails stronger and does make them grow, and it forms a protein bond over my nails. That's all I know, it's all I need to know, it works. I'm happy with that. The other things like what I put on my skin, I like to know a little bit more detail. But cuticle oils and things like that, there are some gorgeous ingredients in these things, and they do have different effects on the skin. Have a little research into them. And share your knowledge. And when you are sharing them, make sure it's accurate, make sure it's concise, and be clear. Your clients and your friends and your colleagues will love to know this information too. So you're going to need to ensure that you comply with industry expectations. And some of the expectations which you guys are going to be writing about in your policies and procedures manuals are you need to be punctual for work. Quite often that means turning up 10-15 minutes before your job starts. Those salon doors open at 9 o'clock in the morning. You need to set up your workstation before that, because so that you are ready with your consultation form, with your lipstick on, with your hair up, with your earrings in, everything good to go, lights on, wax pots on, everything's hot towels made, so that when your client arrives for their appointment at 9 a.m, you're ready for them. Quite often clients will arrive beforehand, especially if they're a new client, because they'll have paperwork to fill out and they don't want that to eat into their treatment time. Okay, so you need to be not flying in with, you know, a bacon and egg McMuffin hanging out your mouth and your hair in a top knot at 5 to 9. Your client's already going to be there waiting for you. Okay, and your boss is just going to be looking at you like, we're late. Even though you don't start for another 5 minutes, you're late. Okay, and that's and it's not paid time. Every single job that you have, you will be expected to turn up 10 to 15 minutes early. So you're ready to start work at 9 a.m. Make sure your personal hygiene and presentation is professional. Wear deodorant, reapplied at lunchtime. I've had to do that with, actually had to do that on Friday. I literally grabbed one of the girls from reception. So, oh, can you just come with me for a second? And I dragged her into the staff room, just like, what's the matter? I'm like, can you put this on? And I gave her some Rexona. I'm like, I love you enough to be able to tell you this in confidence. I was like, I know you've had a really busy day. She just laughed. She's like, oh, do I smell? And I'm like, oh, a little bit. I was like, you need to just refresh yourself. Just put some of this on. And she's like, oh, thank you. You know, I'm honest. And I'm like, and I always say, if the situation was ever reversed and you can smell me, can you tell me too? Because sometimes you can't. All right, but reapply your deodorant, reapply your perfumes. You don't want to be like drowned in perfumes and strong scents. It's not nice. Some people actually have aversion to strong smells, but making sure you are clean, fresh, and presentable is really important. You know, make sure your nails are clean, that your nail polish isn't chipped. It's not professional. Remember, you are a walking advertisement for your job. Stay up to date with industry knowledge. By that, we're meaning subscribe to trade magazines and subscriptions. Follow legislation and legal requirements. We've covered all that this morning. Be honest and ethical. Okay. So yeah, be honest and ethical with your clients. Don't just tell them what they want to hear. Ensure you're properly trained to perform the services and work to your time frame. So it's up to you to make sure you can talk and work at the same time. If you can't talk and work, don't talk. Okay, they don't in other nail bars, they don't talk to you. They just get the job, their head down, bum up, getting the job done. Okay. If you can't work and talk, you do your consultation at the beginning, start working. The talking will come later, because if you can't talk and work, you're going to be there all day doing their nails, and they've only booked in for that particular time slot. They expect you to do it in that time slot. They can talk till the cows come home. That's fine. Let them talk. And just go, oh, I'm still, you know, I just need to just say, you know, I can't talk and concentrate at the same time. I'm just going to concentrate on doing your nails, and then I'll talk when I get past doing this little technical bit. That's fine with that. Don't ignore them. You can still acknowledge what they're saying and stuff, but you don't have to stop and look up and make eye contact and stop what you're doing. They don't expect eye contact when you're doing nails. They expect you to do the job and treat them respectfully. So there are lots of other qualifications that you can do surrounding this initial qualification. Okay, you can go on to do a Cert 2 in retail cosmetics, Cert 3 in beauty services, which this qualification covers you for. You can go on to do makeup. nail tech, we're already doing nail technology, Cert 4 in beauty therapy, diploma of beauty therapy, diploma of salon management. So many different things. You've also got a graduate certificate in intense pulse light and laser hair reduction. And go into laser therapy and go work for like laser clinics or Silk or Clear Skin or one of those other beautiful salons. A graduate diploma in dermal therapies and start doing skin needling, for instance, and electrolysis and so on and so forth. Pigmentation removal, all that kind of stuff. A Bachelor of Health and Science, otherwise known as dermal therapies. Lots of different things that you can do. Okay. Very interesting. So you're not stuck with just doing nails unless nails is what you want to do. You can then go on to become a nail trainer if you wanted to. When you've got, I think it's when you've got 5 years in the industry. I think that's the rules. You've got 5 years experience, industry experience in doing nails. You can do your Cert 4 in training and assessment, and you can actually go on to become a nail trainer. And you can still have your own business, or you can work for other people. You could create your own nail brand. You could make your own gel or acrylic. Follow nailolympia.co.uk. I've been following an amazing nail technician for years. Her name's Kirsty Merkin. She's English. Her hair is often actually very similar to yours, Catherine. She always has it like beautiful different colours. Sometimes she has like sparkly little extensions in them and all the rest of it. But her nails are phenomenal. And she's just recently released her own gel acrylic and gel polishes, because she's been in the industry for years, and she actually judges in the Nail Olympics in London. Okay, I love the Nail Olympics. I was 16 the first time I went to the Nail Olympics, which was held at Olympia Stadium in London when I lived over there. And I took my mum, and it was when I was just looking at getting into the beauty industry and starting my nail course. And I got to go to the Nail Olympics and just see these phenomenal nails that were being created, and like full-on body makeup, theatrical, crazy, 3D alien makeup, lions, all sorts of these huge, long, gargantuous artistic nails with big 3D things on their fingers. It was amazing. So if you can Google Nail Olympics, London, have a little see at what's what can be created within your industry. Pretty phenomenal, really. Okay, so this little qualification that you're doing at the moment can lead to great things. It's absolutely fabulous. So does anybody have any questions about research and applied beauty industry information so far? You can speak aloud if you would like. And I've been seeing things arriving in my inbox, which has been brilliant. So I'm going to go through and do some marking later on tonight, which will be fantastic. So let's have a little talk about organizational requirements. Okay. So let's talk about conducting financial transactions today. Okay, so in this part of your resources, organizational requirements and financial transactions, you actually have your workbooks there that you can have a little look at here. And then also your conduct financial transactions PowerPoint and comply with organizational requirements, which I'm going to go through here. There's also a link to the fair trading legislation that we talked about this morning on there as well. There's also a link to chapter 1, page 3 of your textbook, but everything is covered within the workbook anyway. I'm not too stressed about that. So let's have a little look about organisational requirements to begin with. Let's have a look at this. Why would organisational requirements? So this kind of covers a lot of the stuff that we've already gone through already, but it is classed as a separate unit, which is why we cluster all these units together. They used to be taught as completely separate units with lots of different assessments, with lots of the same questions, because it all merges together as one. So we've made it as one to make your assessment process so much easier for you. So what are your rights in the workplace? Your rights are to work in a safe environment, free from discrimination, harassment or abuse, to be paid correctly and fairly, for equal opportunity, for union, when we were talking about trade unions, for union representation if we need it, to receive correct working conditions and be treated fairly and equally. And that is everything that you need to know, essentially. Okay, that's what your rights are in the workplace. We're not in a different country where we don't have rights and what the boss says goes. That's not the case at all. All right, there are other bigger parties at play here, looking out for us and looking out for our best interests, as long as we are working correctly. So your responsibilities are to arrive at work when you're rostered on and be punctual. By punctual, 10 minutes early. That way you've got time to make a cup of tea or get your computer on, get the system on, get everything organised, put your lipstick on if you haven't got it on already, get your workplace station organised, remove your equipment from the steriliser if it's in the like, you know, your nail equipment and things like that, cuticle brushes, so on and so forth. Put your correct drill bits on that you need. Fresh towels down on your workstation so that you are ready for your client to rock in when you clock on properly. It's also your responsibility to abide by privacy laws. Don't talk about your clients outside work. Okay? Don't mention names. No gossiping. It's not nice. Don't partake in acts of discrimination, harassment or abuse. And it's up to you to report any incidents of this to your employer. Report hazards. When we were talking about electricity hazards, about what happened when we had a gel lamp that lost its sensor. We ended up with a fire in the salon and loss of revenue. And it was Christmas. It was horrendous. It was like 22nd of December or something. And I was out getting a coffee. Anyway, report hazards and follow workplace policies and procedures. Understand and adhere to workplace policies and procedures. So know how you're supposed to do things and do them correctly. So what's the Fair Work Act 2009? It's the legislation that regulates the rights and responsibilities of employers and employees. The Fair Work Act covers the following workplace matters: unfair dismissal, the 10 national employment standards. You have to have a look at those. We'll go through those. They're in your learner book, in your workbook. Redundancy and what that looks like. Bullying and harassment and equal opportunity and discrimination, which are things that I also went through first thing this morning. Discrimination is the unfair treatment of a person due to age, race, religion. Everyone deserves a fair go, essentially. So we've got the FWE.gov.au, which is the Fair Work Ombudsman, Australia's National Workplace Relations Tribunal, created by the Fair Work Act 2009. The Commission can investigate unfair dismissal and bullying and harassment complaints. And then fairwork.gov.au provides information about your workplace entitlements to do with pay rates and all sorts of things. And if you want to know about your rights and responsibilities, we've got state or territory boards and commissions, otherwise known as the Equal Employment Opportunity, the EEO. If you have a dispute in regards to equal opportunity, you can contact your state or territory board, okay, with the equal employment opportunity. You can go to trade unions, employer associations, also your staff handbook, policies and procedures manuals, that has all that information in there for you. So remember, you have the right to work in an environment that's free from discrimination, be paid correctly, have equal opportunities, be represented by a union, receive correct working conditions, and work in a safe environment. You do have the responsibility to work when rostered on and know when you're rostered on. No one's going to tell you your roster. You need to go and find it so that you know when to work. The amount of times I've had people say to me in the past, oh, I didn't know I was working that day. Like, well, you were in the other day, didn't you? You check your roster. You know when you should be at work. You're always in on a Tuesday. Why weren't you in this Tuesday? Oh, I didn't know I was in. It's not really good enough. The roster's on the wall in the staff room. You have to walk past it when you start and finish work. Okay. So you have a responsibility to arrive at work when rostered on, not partake in acts of discrimination, report any acts of discrimination, bullying or harassment, and understand your workplace policies and procedures and adhere to them. Okay, super easy. Perform your job to the best of your ability as well. And know who you need to ask for help. Okay, so there we have a management framework there. So every workplace will have an organisational chart, and you can imagine it in your head with wherever it is that you're working at the moment or where you've worked in the past, for instance. So for instance, you'll have the business owner at the top, then a salon manager underneath, then you might have a supervisor as well. Underneath that, you'll have all your therapists and technicians, and then under that, you've got your receptionist and any salon assistants and apprentices and things like that. So you know where you need to go to ask for advice. If you needed to find out information about the booking system, you might go down to the receptionist and go and ask them, because they're going to know more about that system. Whereas if it's something operational or to do with bullying and harassment, I'd probably go to the salon manager. But if the salon manager is the one doing the bullying and harassing and you don't feel safe and you don't feel happy in your workplace, just go straight to the owner. Okay. Lines of communication. So you need to know your workplace expectations for your professional appearance. Your employer will have expectations in regards to your professional appearance and hygiene. You need to make sure you know what these are. So you know what they are for Demi International. We've been through them, we have been through them before. Okay. Really nice and easy. Basically, when you're doing practical, your hair must be up, you must have good personal hygiene, make sure you're wearing some nice clean makeup. Doesn't have to be crazy, just so you're presentable and that you are presented for work. So closed-in shoes, you're wearing a uniform, or you're just wearing black t-shirt, something like that, making sure that you are neat and tidy and presentable, ready for work. You need to be aware of your rosters when you've got your rosters, okay? And that is what tells you when you start work, when you finish work, so on and so forth. You need to be a good team player. You need to maintain a positive work environment. Use positive verbal and non-verbal communication. Don't whinge. No one likes a whinger. Don't do it, okay? It's not going to get you anywhere. Okay, lunch breaks get moved all the time. Get used to it. There's no point whinging about it. If you have an appointment on a certain lunch break, you need to book it in as an appointment and tell the receptionist this is actually, or put a note next to it saying this is actually a doctor's appointment. I can't have that moved. Okay, but at the end of the day, your boss has a business to run and she has clients that she wants to get in and she has to think about what benefits the business. and everybody has a day off, and those days off should be for medical appointments only. Okay, but it depends on your boss. Some people are flexible. So use positive verbal and non-verbal communication. Use appropriate tone of voice when speaking to other team members. Be clear and concise in your communication. Maintain a positive work culture by not partaking in bullying and harassment of team members. Report any incidents of bullying and harassment to a manager, and be courteous and helpful at all times. You have a duty to make everybody feel like somebody within your workplace, which is a big thing to say, but that's something I always abide by. You will have clients, you will have colleagues from all walks of life, different stages of life, different stress concepts within their lives, and it's up to you to be graceful and kind at all times as much as possible. So you need to maintain a safe and sustainable workplace, clean as you go when you're doing your treatments. When you are doing your treatment, you do not want your table to look like a bomb has gone off on your table, because it's unprofessional. Put the lid back on your tip box, put the tip box away when you're not using it, because all you're going to do is just create a layer of dust on top. Put it back into a drawer. You know, try and keep your nail files when you're using them or not using them. Keep them lined up next to you. When you finish with something, remove it from sight or wrap it or do something with it. As you're clipping off those tips, when you're applying your tips, clip them off and put that tip in the bin straight away. Don't make like a little pile on your table. The client doesn't need to see the nail clippings, especially not when doing pedicures and things like that. The last thing you want to do is be clipping toenails and they go in your eye, or they get stuck in your hair, or they go down your top and they sit in your bra. I have had that happen to me. It's not nice. Okay, so we need to make sure that we are cleaning as we're going and everything's looking nice and tidy at all times, as much as possible. It is a workspace, which means you're working, but you need to be working tidily. Maintaining safety, maintaining hygiene, dress accordingly to your workplace policy, be punctual to work, know your workplace policies and procedures for dealing with grievances. So when we're talking about dealing with complaints, that's known as a grievance. Okay, we're not talking about grievances and people messing away, which I've heard. It's in one of your research questions. And the amount of people that are saying about, oh, you know, if I've got a funeral, how do we deal with grievances? Well, be nice to people if someone's died. That's not the answer to the question. It's to do with how we deal with complaints. Complaint is a grievance. And those steps that we go to resolving grievances, resolving complaints. Complaints handling is the technical term. So perform your job as part of your team. Ask for assistance from team members when needed. Give assistance to other team members when needed. You know, if you know one of your girls is running late and you've just finished your client, you've got a couple of minutes ready until the next one comes in and she's processing the sale at reception, tidy her area for her. Try and help them get set up for the next client. Okay? Give assistance where you can, because that becomes reciprocal. Listen to ideas and opinions of others. Always be respectful of other team members and their views. Follow instructions. Have a can-do attitude when work tasks need to be completed. Ask for assistance as needed. If you haven't got time to do something that's been asked of you, tell someone so that job can be passed on to somebody else. You know, it could be like, oh, I didn't get time to do the Livingstone order or something. Really need to do that. The foolproof guide to completing tasks on time. Plan and organise your day. Prioritise. Be efficient and effective. Know exactly what needs to be done for the task to be completed successfully. Follow instructions. Ask for assistance as needed. When you go to work for a company, you will be given a contract. It's an agreement between an employer that sets out the terms and conditions for employment. An employment contract will usually include your rate of pay, your start date, your leave, your hours of work per week, your leave entitlements, your employment terms and conditions, the amount of notice needed to terminate employment. Things like that. It's a legal binding document. Does everybody know what a job description is? Yeah? Defines a job role, tells you what your responsibilities will be within the workplace and what you will need to do, qualifications you will need to hold as well. Your job description will outline the duties and boundaries of your role. You should not perform duties that are outside the boundaries of your job role, otherwise you may need to be paid accordingly. Okay? Or the title of your job may need to be changed. Really important. Okay? And then the next slide I'm just going to run through now is conduct financial transactions. So has everybody had a job where they've conducted a financial transaction, they've taken payment for something? Sometimes everyone had a job, assuming you've all had a job doing something somewhere. So there are rules and regulations into how we actually process our sales. Okay? And that's what this covers. The point of sale area isn't just the POS machine, it's actually basically the counter or the desk where we're actually going to be taking payments. It used to be called the post, point of sale terminal. If there's a question about the post in your research questions, it's not asking you about mail delivery, like post delivery. It's actually asking about your point of sale area and the terminal that you are using and the programs that you're using. So the POS areas usually has a counter or a desk. Tasks performed at this position may include answering the general queries regarding products and services, accepting or modifying client appointments and processing client sales. Clients remember their first and last experiences of businesses most vividly. It's important to remember this when you work at the POS. Presenting a professional, friendly, and efficient impression should result in high levels of client satisfaction and of business success. There is different point of sale equipment that you'll be using. So it could be a scanner, like a barcode scanner, and this records the price of the item that the client's buying. The cash register, and this records the price paid by the customer. A printer prints out sales dockets and receipts to give to the customer or invoices. Credit card machine, which is used if a customer wants to pay using credit card instead of cash. And a telephone to call other staff members to ask them to check the price for them, or clients might make payments over the telephone to you. So what type of equipment is used for financial transactions? And I believe this is a question in one of your exams. So you might have EFTPOS machines, computers, barcode scanners, calculators to figure out change that you might need to give a client, or a total amount that you need to charge a client. And of course, the cash register itself is usually a piece of equipment that you'll be needing to use. You need to be making sure that you're trained in how to use all these things as well, to make sure that you are following all of the information that you need, okay? The first piece of equipment that you use when a customer buys their goods is a scanner. Some people don't have scanners and you have to manually enter all the information or look it up. The scanner reads the barcode on products and records the price. Fixed scanners connect to the cash register. Think about the self-checkouts at Coles and Woolies and things like that, the supermarket. I just had a message come through from a student. Okay. So yeah, so fixed scanners, they just usually have the little red dot and you just have to try and scan. Others are like a little gun and you can scan your product separately, which I prefer. Handheld scanners make it easy to read barcodes. Pretty good. Then we've got card readers. So the basic tool, the magnetic strip. So no matter what POS system you choose, it will always include a magnetic, so a swipe. So you can swipe your card. Records all the card details and there's a reduced risk of fraud, counterfeit usage and stolen cards. Make sure your employees know how to use it and they understand using a magnetic strip reader is safer than manually entering card details. And we've got chip readers. Those are the silver chips that we see on cards. Too easy. Another thing is people can pay with their watches now. People pay with their phones by just using a tap with Google Pay and things like that. It's really, really interesting. There are now chips that you can buy and you can actually put them into your nails. They're actually like little chip readers where you can put your bank information, like your card information, into these tiny little microchips, and you can set them in acrylic in your nail so you don't have to take your purse out with you. And you just scan your fingernail and you just do PayPass with your fingernail. It's crazy, absolutely crazy the things you can do. It's quite fascinating. Lots of different ways we can use card readers. The terminal compares the applications it supports, the applications available on the card, and the card and the terminal have no applications in common. A standard magnetic transaction is conducted. If the card and the terminal have one application in common, that application is used. So for instance, if you're pressing savings or credit, and that is kind of what that's talking about. Some card readers won't take things like American Express and they just won't scan the card. It won't register it as a payment option. All right. It's very interesting. The law and financial transactions. So what rights does a customer have? They can have faulty goods repaired. Okay, so the law and financial transactions. So this is what's covered underneath the consumer law, which we also went through this morning. So repair of faulty goods, replacements and refunds, warranties and guarantees must be upheld. Don't be misled by advertising or by prices. They need to be issued, customer has a right to ask for a receipt and you must give a receipt over $70. Government bodies enforce consumer law. Okay, the competition, then we've got a little bit of information about the ACCC there as well. Okay. Cash registers are used to record the total, accept payment, make change for customers' transactions. So cash registers range from manual ones, which simply display amounts, charge for items, GST and total, to fully functioning computers and network point of sale systems with a host of features. So lots of features on them. Does everybody know what a float is? Yeah. So a float is what's left inside the register every day. Okay, so a float is a mixture of change. Some people it will be $70, some people it will be $150, sometimes it's $250, sometimes it's bigger depending on like the company that it is working for. Okay. Establishments need to store a float of money to enable them to provide a service to customers so that they can give change back to them. When setting up at the beginning of the day, you need to record the different notes, amounts, and denominations to make up the float. So you need to count the float to make sure it's correct from the night before, to make sure that whoever cashed up actually has corrected or put the correct float in the till. Otherwise, at the end of the day, the float's going to be, the money's going to be out, and you're going to waste time trying to find where this money's gone or why you're $5 over or something, whereas really at the beginning of the day you were out already. Okay, so if you're starting a shift and you're opening up the salon, count the float. It covers yourself because you don't want to be blamed for money going missing at the end of the day when you can't actually say when it was actually the person who was there the previous day. Does that make sense? So that's like a bit of an insurance policy for yourself, really, just to make sure that things are as they should be, because, you know, human error, we're counting things and We get it wrong sometimes, and that's fine, but we need to be able to record that. And if in the morning we're $5 out or $10 out or $50 out, for instance, because too much has been banked the day before, we know that. Otherwise, your boss might be cranky at you, but it wouldn't have been your fault. It's also important that the cash register is checked throughout the day to make sure there is enough float in there. So for instance, your first client of the day, they come in, they have a $15 service and they pay with a $100 note. So you're giving them $75 change, $85 change. And that's all of your cash gone for the day, for instance. That's taken all of your notes and a few of your coins for the day. So you need to go and get more change. And you can just simply go into a bank. Often you can go into Coles and ask them to change it up. Just go up to the customer service counter, and quite often they'll give you change as well. If you're in a small city centre or something like that. If you've got a bank, the banks will just give you change, and that's nice and easy. And you'll have to fill out a change slip, which your managers will train you in how to do, which is nice and easy. And through that. So you must always make sure that receptions are not left alone, that your tills must always be locked, and that the general public don't have access to it. Okay, I mean, yes, they can jump over the desk, yes, they can take the till or open the till or whatever and gain access to it. Good luck to them. Fine, but there's insurance that covers that. Don't be a hero. All right. When you're handling cash during your shift, cash is received from guests and the sale of their products. The receipt of this cash must be recorded in the appropriate accounts. Really, really important that you do put all the information into the computer for the sale of different things and make sure it's accurate. Otherwise, you can be out by the end of the day. Whenever cash is received, a record of the transaction is prepared by printing a receipt and retaining a copy, or it's just it running in the background on your computer. Okay. Everything must be processed effectively. It's really important. At the end of a shift, and if it's appropriate, before handover to the next shift's cashier, because sometimes when you've got two receptionists on reception taking over, they'll do a mini cash up settlement to make sure that everything balances. I usually do that about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, because usually I get a little quiet spot. Around 3:30. That's when I tend to do a little settlement of the till. And you need to make sure that there's a banking summary sheet to make sure that everything balances, that all your FPOS dockets add up. So what the machine gives you a sales summary on your FPOS machine, and you match it against your trading summary that is on the computer, and make sure that you've taken the same amount of what you've got in receipts in your hand as to what you've put through on the computer. If it hasn't, it tells me something that's there's either been a payment declined or something hasn't been put through properly, or hasn't been put through at all if you're over. Also check the cash and make sure that the cash on hand is what it says on the trading summary that you should have, minus the float. The float doesn't count. And if you've got excessive amounts of notes in the till, you either remove them and put them in the safe, okay, and you count them later at the end of the shift, or you hand them to your manager and they do something with them, or quite often they go underneath the coin drawer. In some places they do that as well. At the end of the day, people want to balance the till, meaning you want to take all the money out of the till that's not supposed to be there, and it just leaves the float. So you take out the day's takings, and you'll need to be doing different reports on this day depending on what computer system you have. And that might be the total of sales breakdown by department and by therapist, for instance, the total number of clients, the total sales value, the total sales received, total of checks received, if any, and gift vouchers. Any voids and refunds, credit card sales, and complimentary sales as well. Have you had to give any free treatments out? The sales summary sheets also needs to be reconciled or balanced with the readings from the billing machine or the computer. And if there's any discrepancies, we need to identify these and try and correct them during our shift, because quite often it's just something hasn't been put through, or something hasn't been put through correctly, or something hasn't been refunded correctly. So we need to make sure that all balances. So I've already talked about taking out excess money. Fine. If you have a log-on code for the computer, make sure you log off when you leave the computer, because someone else will then be processing sales under your name. And if anything goes wrong, it can reflect badly on you, and you can't prove that it wasn't you that put those sales through. So maintaining your point of sale terminal, your post, you need to maintain the cash float during the day, ensure it doesn't run out of money or you'll run out of change. Clear the post during the day according to your workplace procedures. That means just balancing it during the day. Keep records of transactional errors according to your workplace policies and procedures. Make sure you've got enough dockets, enough vouchers, all that kind of thing. All right, very nice and easy. We need, money is very important. Time is money. Businesses want to make money. That's why you have a job, and the business pays your wages. So you must be accurate with all the information. It's important that the information recorded by the post is accurate. The post provides valuable information about sales, such as quantity of goods or services sold. The operator is identified. The person conducting the sale, description of the goods and services sold, the price of the goods and services, discounts and variations to prices, date and time of transaction, stock name or stock code of the goods and services sold, and GST. So goods, services, tax. Completing POS and transactions. Calculate, communicate, process, use these techniques and issue a receipt. Okay. Let's have a look. So there are many different kinds of Visa cards. These share the same essential card elements and security features. The embossed Visa card is the new Visa product, which has the card number and information printed on the front of the card, making the surface of the card smooth instead of being raised. So the unembossed Visa card does not share some of the card elements as a normal Visa card, and these include Visa flag symbols. Mirror printing should be visible. There should always be a Dove hologram on a Visa card. Okay. 4-digit numbers printed above or below the account number. It's really, really interesting how cards can be quite different. Account number should be even, clear and straight with all the numbers in the same sizes. And an embossed letter V will be present on the embossed Visa cards. On some cards, it may be shown as a CV, BV, or a PV. For unembossed cards, this feature will not be present. Okay. It's fascinating how cards all used to look the same, but now they can be quite different and completely unembossed, whereas others have the name, hello, puppy dog. Okay. So on a Visa card, there must always be the cardholder name. We make sure that the expiry dates are valid on the card. There should always be a unique 3-digit code printed on the back on the signature panel. Many Visa cards always have a chip, and they can just pay pass, which is nice and easy. Sometimes there'll be split sales and some people want to pay cash and card, and it's up to you to figure out the difference for that. People can pay part cash and part card, for instance, and that's perfectly fine. But you need to be able to make sure that you are adding up correctly to be able to process that. So when you're counting cash with a customer, always concentrate on the task in hand. Take time to count properly, use a balance sheet and add up with a calculator, okay? Because that way there's no chance of human error. When you're counting your cash to give your client, always count back. I always actually, when I take money from a client and they give me like a $50 note, for instance, I sit it, so I've got my cash register drawer open and I just sit it on top. I don't actually like put it in this little slot. I just sit it on top of the till, like in the drawer to begin with, while I'm getting my change out. And then I go, oh, this is $37 change. And they'll be like, oh no, I gave you a $100 note. I'm like, oh no, you didn't. You gave me this $50 note, actually. Because some people be like, oh no, I gave you a $20 note. And I'm like, no, you only gave me a 10, actually. Okay, otherwise you will have put it in the drawer and then you get flustered because you're like, oh, did you? Oh, sorry. And you can't remember what one you just did and you think you got it right, but you can't really prove that you got it right and you have to give them the change for the other note, essentially. And that's how people steal money from tills. And then your till you won't balance at the end of the day and you've lost money. I actually had that happen to me and it was a little old lady that did that to me. And I was like, oh no, you actually gave me this $50 note or this 10, whatever it was, this $10 note here. So this is what you gave me because I haven't put it in the till yet. And she was like, oh, you're very clever, dear. Well done. I was like, okay, here's your change, thank you. And off she went. And I was like, oh, okay. Interesting. Yeah, so add up with a calculator, count your change back and don't put the money in the till until you're ready. Okay, until you're positive that you've got what you need. Checks. No one ever really uses checks anymore, but you must make sure that every single box is complete in regards to filling out a check and that you check the information against the card. Make sure that the right card number's on there, the right name is on there. On the back, you can always write down their name and address and telephone number, cite their driver's license to make sure they are the correct person writing out the check, okay? Because otherwise it won't be guaranteed. The check must be signed. It mustn't be post-dated, so it must have today's date on it. It can't have next week's date on it because that means you can't bank that check until next week. And that used to be something that used to be done in business. People would post date a check and they'd put a future date on it and go, so you couldn't bank it until after payday, but they've got the product. People can also cancel checks. So I don't really like taking a check because it's not always a guaranteed way of paying for things, but they're still around. People can get blank checks made up. So for instance, if someone, you can't really see these for what you're doing to do with mail services, but it's something you may deal with in life. You know, people can get a bank check made up for a certain amount to buy a large item. You know, people might be buying a car off you, for instance, and they want to get a check made up with the bank. They can cancel that check. So I would never ever take that as a form of payment personally. I always ask for cash, but that's just me, okay? Or a direct transfer into your bank account. That way you know it's going in, where a checks can be cancelled. And then they can take days to get into your account. Meanwhile, they're driving off with your car. Sits uneasily with me. But yes, you can go, if for a large amount of money, you can go to a bank and get them to make up a cheque if you need to. Gift vouchers. Most places sell gift vouchers. They're a lovely thing to give to different clients. A gift voucher is something that you could give to a local charity for a raffle prize, for instance. That's always quite nice. A gift voucher will often have an expiry date. It will need to be redeemed by the recipient of the voucher before that date. And in some salons, this voucher is not redeemed if lost. Where other salons will keep a record of vouchers. Check your salon's policy on vouchers. Okay. Some of them have traveller's checks. Quite often we don't accept those, but different places do. You can always read about that in your own time. What else can I go through with you? I think everything else is pretty much common sense that you can all read through in your own time at this stage. Strategies to ensure complete and correct transactions. So the final step in the sales procedure is tendering change to the client. So we've already sort of said this already, but the minimum denomination in Australian currency is 5 cents, and yet prices may not reflect this. So it's up to, in 1991, the Prices Surveillance Authority released the guideline on withdrawal of copper coins to help both businesses and consumers in the transaction process, leading to the withdrawal of 1 and 2 cent pieces. So these guidelines state that if the change amount includes 1, 2, 6, or 7 cents, then the amount is rounded down to the nearest multiple of 5, below the amount required. If the change amount includes 3, 4, 8, or 9, then the amount is rounded up to the nearest multiple of 5 cents above the amount required. So either right, so they're the rules to do with rounding up or rounding down. When processing client transactions, you'll often need to complete some form of documentation, and you need to make sure you're filling it out correctly. Okay. Some places will make you handwrite a receipt, so you need to make sure that it's dated and all the information's on there, the business name. Sometimes you have to even write the ABN on there if it's an invoice receipt. The client's name, the sum of money, the treatment or service it's for, and then you need to sign, and was there any change given, and also the way in which they paid. Processing clients without undue delay shows that you respect the client and understand that they are busy and they need to get on with other activities. Clients appreciate your consideration in assisting them quickly. If the post is considered in the area where incoming calls is taken, if the post is positioned in the area where incoming calls are taken, make sure that you can ask the caller to hold while you finalise a transaction. Never keep a client waiting to make a purchase while you deal with a client on the phone. If a queue of clients builds up and there's another point of sale that could be opened, make sure you alert your supervisor quickly and you get someone else to jump on a till to relieve the stress. You can only deal with one client at a time. Okay. So, counting cash. This section deals with workplace policies and procedures for emptying the takings from the post separately. Okay, so separating the required float from the next day and obtaining the readings for takings. You need to make sure you are balancing everything, involving counting the cash or the non-cash tender, matching the actual takings to the post, reading the documentation and takings accordingly. And in large workplaces, cash may be counted by staff in the cash office or by the manager. And in smaller workplaces, it may rotate the cash of all the tasks. Counting and reconciling reconciling post takings must be done carefully and accurately. Don't ever just load all the cash on top of the register or on top of your reception desk, because then all of this money is on view to the customers. Ideally do it after the doors are shut and that you're not on your own as well. Okay. Sometimes you need a witness in their accounting. I've worked with different companies that handle large volumes of cash, and we count the cash together, and there's two of us double checking counting cash. And then we get a third manager to make sure that they sign everything off. And yes, this amount's here. Yes, this amount's here. This amount is going into the safe. And that's usually when you're working for government and things like that, with very large companies. When counting cash, you need to ensure that you're in a suitable location with minimal distractions. Group each denomination of coins and notes and place them in a separate bag or secure them with a rubber band or paper roll. Separate the different types of non-cash transactions into categories such as checks, credit vouchers, debit vouchers, etc. When a refund has been given or a transaction voided, make sure that the amounts refunded or voided to have been deducted from the day's takings when balancing or post. In regards to non-cash items, particular care must be taken when dealing with non-cash items. Some credit vouchers and other non-cash documentation are flimsy. If they get damaged or lost, the business may lose significant amounts of money. Some places may just chuck them in the bin once a voucher has been redeemed. Everyone works differently, and you need to find out what the policy is for that company. Okay. Don't offer cash refunds for goods. Okay, there are several circumstances in which an exchange or refund may take place. If a refund voucher is required, it should be imprinted and completed in the same way as a gift voucher. Very important. So exchange of the goods are of equal value. No further action is required. If it's of greater value, prepare a sales draft in the normal way for a different cost between an old and a new item. Exchange for goods for lesser value. Prepare a refund for the difference. Okay, so it could be a refund voucher. While we're on the subject of refunds, ensure you know your workplace's obligations. Okay, explain your refund policy. Sometimes there is a no refund policy to clients, depending on the company that you work for, especially in regards to goods rather than services. I know a lot of companies don't like to do cash refunds. Sometimes you have to do a refund on the same card that you paid with. And the only reason that is the case is it just makes their paper trail easier. And sometimes that can't always be done. Okay. Sometimes you have to give a voucher. Work within the boundaries of your workplace and talk to them about it and how they want it done. All right. So just a little recap. Complaints. How do we handle a complaint? What's the first way of dealing with a complaint? Amy, you go.
You listen to your client.
Excellent. Then what do we do? Christine, you'll go. Then what do we do after we've listened to them?
We try to find out what they have been doing and when they lifted or what happened.
Yeah, absolutely. And then Catherine, what do we then try and do?
I'll think of a solution.
Perfect. Find a solution. Absolutely. Brilliant. Sounds great. Okay, that sounds brilliant. You've all grasped the concept of that, which is fabulous. And what would you do if you had a client who was irate and being a bit shouty and mean? You can all answer at the same time if you like.
Always be friendly.
Yep. Always be friendly.
And calm and don't raise your voice.
Yep. Amy, you were going to go?
Yeah, you could offer to take them into a more private setting, but again, always be mindful of your own safety first.
Definitely, definitely. And Catherine, do you have anything to add to that?
Not really. They took my points.
That's all right. I think we've covered everything. So yeah, so always listen to the clients if they are getting a little bit irate. Another thing is keep your voice, your tone of voice down. Keep yourself as relaxed as possible so that you're not getting irate and loud. Don't raise your voice. Don't mirror your client, essentially. They need to start mirroring you, acting the way you are, not the other way. Okay, and be respectful at all times. Okay, so manners will get you anywhere, pretty much, which is good to know. Okay, so what else do I need to talk to you about today? Talked about fair work, policies and procedures, job descriptions. Okay. Setting up this now and then go back into, gosh, it's really hot here in Cairns today. I'm just going to turn my aircon on. Easy. Okay, it's a bit less glary now. Okay, so we've been through organisational requirements. We've had a little look at health and safety in the previous class. Advise on beauty services, we'll have a little look at that. I think we went through that last week. Make sure that we've covered everything and you all know what you need to do. So how have you been going with your policies and procedures manual? Catherine, have you started to have a chip away at it?
Just started on it.
Just started on it? Awesome.
Yeah.
That's good. And Amy, how are you going?
Yeah, to be honest, I only started last night, but I found it's easier to go from the bottom up. The easiest sections are at the bottom.
Okay. Yeah. I understand that. That's fine. Oh, yes. And how about you, Christine?
I submitted my first one last night or this morning. I can't remember now.
Great. Well, I'm going to go through and do some marking later, so that'll be really good. I've got some marking to catch up on for everybody, which is great. So chip away at that this week. So I'd like your first draft in by midnight Sunday, if we can get it in, because that way I can get them marked and get them back out to you, and hopefully get them that way at the end of the month. They will all be all good, basically, and you shouldn't have anything else to add, and there'll be nothing extending on after these units, and that way you can just concentrate on the new set of units that we'll be doing, which I think will be good, because remember we don't break up for holidays. And this is a rolling course, so it keeps on going. So if you find that you've got school kids and they are going to be off, don't worry about attending face-to-face. Don't stress too much about that, because you can watch the recordings back later. All right. But get your work in, essentially, because you know what you need to do. So you've got your policies and procedures manual, which we went through. You've got your research questions, and then you've also got your beauty log as well. All right. Beautiful. So let's have a little think. So what other complaints do you think clients would come back to you with having nails? So we've talked about lifting, we talked about incorrect placement of gel, which you went through with you, Christine. So like if the gel was too thin. What other things do clients complain about? Have a think.
Maybe that after they had it applied, that their cuticle start swelling up or get red or start itching, and they might have an allergy to the monomer ingredient. Or
Absolutely, yeah. So people can start having a reaction to the products, which is obviously something that we want to try and avoid. So you might have a gel that's suitable for a different client or something that's HEMA-free. So HEMA is the word HEMA, and it is an ingredient that's in a lot of gel and acrylic product, or mainly gel products. And it's in shellac product like gel polishes as well. So if you are going to be investing in a gel polish system, I would highly recommend investing in one that is HEMA-free, because you will have those clients that are sensitive to these chemicals, like they are chemicals, and we're choosing to put them on our nails. So it's really important that we are respectful to our clients and try and source the best products possible that we can use. So yeah, so it might be as simple as, you know, say if they're a gel client and they've had a reaction, maybe try them on acrylic. Give it a go, but in the meantime we need to take those nails off, give them a breather. Sometimes I need to go on antibiotics, maybe go and get some attention from a GP and get some advice from them. Remember, people can be allergic to anything. I used to have a friend that was allergic to water. Weird. It's like, how are you allergic to water? And he just couldn't like wash his face. He'd have to use like a cleanser, but not wash it. I don't really understand it, but anyway, yeah, he used to be allergic to water. I don't really get it. You could drink it, but not put it on it. But yeah, people can be allergic to anything. I've developed an allergy to cashew nuts. I have had cashew nuts since I was a little girl and quite like cashew nuts. But for some reason, since having the boys, I now have a cashew nut allergy. It's bizarre. And I can't go near Palmer's cocoa butter. It makes my throat constrict, but I can eat chocolate. And that's got cocoa in it. Cocoa is chocolate. Weird. Weird. The human body is a crazy and complicated beast, okay? So it's just that we understand that and we provide the best treatments that we possibly can and try and get to the resolutions that we possibly can for our clients. All right. Has anybody experienced a client complaint in, doesn't matter what workplace, in the past? Yeah, can you share that experience with us?
I was a home loan lender, so I used to get a lot of complaints when you couldn't get stuff through or people weren't happy with their interest rates. That was my life.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
So it was, education was our biggest thing for calming the client down and getting them to understand why something hasn't gone the way they expected it to, and what can they do differently next time to put themselves in a better position. Yeah. So I think it's all very relatable. You know, it's like you said, it's coming down to understanding why their product hasn't worked, why they've got lifting, what can they do differently at home to make it last longer next time.
Exactly. So, that's the thing, we're not with them holding their hand when they're at home. We don't know what they're doing. We do nails, we know how to look after nails, but people just think, oh, they've got nails on, you know, unless I whack them really hard, they're not going to break. And that's not the case at all. You know, hand sanitizer can cause lifting. Evil stuff. You know, it's isopropyl. It softens gel, softens nail polish. Sunscreen is the other thing. Sunscreen melts nail polish and varnished surfaces. Don't get it on any plastic in your car because it will leave a stain of some kind. You know, there's chemicals in lots of different products, not just nails, that affect lots of different things and affect nails. So we just need to sort of understand that with our clients so that they know and they are educated on, oh, is that what? Oh, oh yeah, that's right. I went to the beach and I had loads of sunscreen on. That's, you know, and then my gel polish went all weird. And I just thought, I was like, oh, is it because I've been outside in the sunshine? Is it because I went to the beach? Like, shouldn't they just stay shiny? And I'll be like, what sunscreen are you using? So yeah, it's a chemical sunscreen. I was like, it eats into nail polish. Sorry. Just avoid it on your nail plates next time. You know, I'll use a zinc-based organic sunscreen. It's all about education, 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 constantly regurgitating it to our clients. And that's why what we have these, why I do recommend making an aftercare sheet for your client. And it can be really detailed. It can be really simple or really detailed. And you can go into all of this stuff. Okay, so you can even have some sunscreens dissolve polish and gel to a certain extent and will make your gel polish lose its shine. So avoid application in these areas, you know, things like that. Slip, slop, snap, brilliant, great. We want people to wear sunscreen, but avoid your nail plates. And you can get cancer in your nail plates. You know, I have seen it before. It looks like a brown spot. It looks like almost like a mole with a freckle underneath the nail plate. Like there's this like weird brown spot in the nail, and that's skin cancer within, or melanoma within the nail plate. So that's another thing, contraindication you need to be aware of is melanoma within the nail plate. Crazy, 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 crazy. So things you need to know about. Any other situations where clients have complained that you guys can think about in your past, or things that you've had a complaint about? Anyone? No, that's fine. That's fine. So, yes. Let's have a little look on advise on PD services. Let's have a little look at this PowerPoint. That's really important. So I've spoken to you about how to sell products in the past and how choose 3 products to recommend to a client. It's the power of 3, essentially. Make it nice and easy for yourself. We need to be inclusive to our client. We must not judge a book by its cover. The most unlikely client will spend a fortune with you. Okay. So, and quite often, you know, it's the person who might be unemployed that's on the dole or whatever, mother of 6 children, or I don't know, just saying examples here, that might spend the most with you over the lady that comes in with the Chanel Louis Vuitton handbag who works in finance or something. Okay. So your workplace has a legal obligation to its customers when recommending or selling products and services. We want to provide the best service. We want to provide the best results for your client. That client needs things to maintain their nails at home. Really, really simple. So you must treat all of your clients and your colleagues equally and without discrimination. You must make sure everyone feels welcome within your workplace. We must work hygienically and cleanly, making sure that all your tools and all your equipment are clean. We must be aware of consumer law, so we've already gone through that, and that's all to do with product returns, warranties, etc., etc. I've drilled that into you to death today, but I need to go through it again. You need to be asking both open questions, closed questions, using positive body language, and by positive body language, I mean you smile, have soft eyes, have an empathetic nature about you, maintain eye contact when relevant. Keep a friendly, calm and pleasant tone of voice. Don't heighten your voice if your client's being cranky, because you're there to listen to them and to help them as best as you can. Develop your product knowledge. No one is going to do this for you. Some salons don't train you in this, but they might say sell 30 products in a month or a week. Usually it's a week. If you can sell 30 products in a week, you get an extra $100 in your bonus, in your wage, but they won't give you the tools to do it. So what are you going to do? You'll be like, oh, I really want to do that, but I don't really know anything about the products. Take the product book home, Google it, write down all the products, or take a picture of the display cabinet. Go home and in your own time, research these products. Find out what's in them, what those ingredients do, why they are there, why that product is really good, and what that product can do for your client. Okay. You might need to go to a trade show, like the Nail Olympics or the Professional Beauty Expo in Sydney and Brisbane. If you can, go to these things, go to the seminars, pay for more education in anything. You will learn so much. I did an advanced brow tinting course with Reflectosil years ago to do like ombre brow tinting, which was really interesting. Does it actually really make a great deal of difference to the eyebrows? Not really, but I found it really interesting and I actually learned quite a bit. And for certain clients, it was very, very useful. But where can you source your information? Industry contacts, mentors, advisors, the internet, your wholesale provider, like the people that sell you the products, product manuals, sharing knowledge between colleagues. You might just need to ask one of the girls, so what's in this? I don't know what this is. Can you tell me what this product does? Like we had this product in the salon that I've been working in, and it's called Catatonic Elixir. And I'm like, what the hell is a catatonic elixir? It's in a tube, $70. I'm like, okay, so it's a good value item. What is it? Is it a moisturizer? Is it a hand cream? What do I do with it? How do I sell this to my products to make my target? It sounds interesting. It feels nice on the skin, but I've got no idea what it actually is or how you use it. It turns out it's a makeup primer and moisturizer, but you can also use it over the top of your moisturizer as well for extra hydration during the day. It's like, oh, that's kind of cool. Okay. But I had to ask the question because I didn't know. And since then, I've sold about 50 of them. So they're actually quite a useful little product. Yeah, but you need to read product labels. Find out information, develop your own product knowledge so you become a key player within your team and you get noticed. And you never know, you might end up being head therapist, you might end up head nail technician, you may end up buying the company, you may get headhunted by another company. I used to do nails in a really nice salon back in the UK. And when I was there, I wasn't just doing nails, I was doing lots of other things. And I did the nails of a lady who was getting married that had her own company. And she was so impressed with the knowledge that I had that she offered me a job. And she's like, I want you to come and work with me and I want you to start a business with me. So I did. And I took all my clients with me. We're doing a great big advert in the local newspaper. I'm here, Tamsin is here, she started her own company. Oh, everyone knew I was there. I didn't need to give out my number or go around it sneakily. Everyone knew where I'd gone. And I worked from 7:30 in the morning, sometimes till 10:30 at night. It's good. Anyway, types of information that you need to source in regards to your products, your brand, and what the brand stands for, where it started, why it exists. Okay, the brand history. People love a bit of history. Ingredients, the features and the benefits. Why are these ingredients? So think of features and benefits. So a feature could be an ingredient. The benefit is, why is it in there? What's that doing for me? How do I benefit from that? You can say to a client, oh, you know, it contains aloe vera and shea butter and cucumber extracts. Oh, it smells lovely. That's not really enough. You can go, it contains organic shea butter from Ethiopia, which is sourced in a very ethical way. And that delivers a beautiful, rich nutrition deep down into the skin and helps with the barrier function of the skin. We've then got our cucumber extract, which is super calming and healing and very refreshing. Gently, it contains hydrosol molecules, which are really, really hydrating on the skin. And when that's combined with, I can't remember the other name of the ingredient I used, something else, that's going to seriously hydrate the skin. By using a different vocabulary, your clients go, wow, I need that. And they do, and they'll buy it. So you need to find out the features and the benefits, meaning ingredients and what they do for the skin and why that person needs that and how that can benefit them. The colours and the sizes, the product guarantees, warranties and consumer law. Clients don't really need to worry too much about that. If it's an electrical item, you can say it's got 12 months warranty, something like that. Safety features and adverse effects of products. If they're buying retinol, they need to know about a retinoid response. What are the negatives that could happen with this while your skin's getting used to it? You might go a bit flaky, you might feel a little bit dry when you first start using it, but you've got to get over that speed hump and then you're going to get glowing skin. Storage requirements. Don't leave it in the hot sun, like with your eyebrow pencils. Don't leave them in the car in your makeup bag. They will melt and be useless. Okay. Storage requirements, shelf life, ordering procedures. Do you order them in as you go? Do you have to put them on special order? Do they need to wait 2 weeks? Stock availability, use by dates, use and application of products. How do they use the product? Remember I was saying about that makeup lady that thought that product was horrendous, but really she didn't know how to use it. Same with loan products, clients are unsatisfied because they don't follow the rules. They don't know anything. What ingredients can cause sensitivities in the skin? So there's lots of talk about parabens, sulfates, things like that. A paraben is a preservative used among manufacturers. We need preservatives in our products to enable them to last longer. But some preservatives are better than others. Doesn't always mean an organic, natural preservative is better than a chemical preservative. It's not always the case. Sometimes a chemical preservative can be safer, must have a safer molecular structure, more stable, whereas nature is bound by the earth, wind, and sea and elements, meaning it can be strong or weaker, depending on what that season has been like that year. It affects the chemical makeup of that natural preservative. The colour may change of products due to those natural elements within those products. Also acids, alpha hydroxy acids, benzoic, azelaic acid, and lactic acid in larger doses can cause redness and dry, irritated skin with some people. Okay. On other people, a little bit of it makes their skin glow because you're resurfacing the skin. And fragrances. Most products contain some form of fragrance, but try to avoid them as much as possible. If they contain essential oils, for instance, yeah, they are a natural fragrance, but they also have an active component to them on the skin. But people with super sensitive skin may be more reactive to them. Use your judgment, use your education. Also see what are the other salons in your area. What are they doing? What products and services do they provide? What prices do they charge? What are their brands and their values? How do they use technology and what type of customers are they targeting? Beauty products and services. Okay, so things that you need to have knowledge about are manicure and pedicure services, an overall bit of knowledge about facial services and skincare products, makeup products and services, body products and services, hair reduction products and services, nail art, things that people can do at home. How do you give this knowledge to your clients? You need to educate them, not baffle them with science, but you need to have an in-depth and current product knowledge. You need to use your great customer service skills. Discuss your clients' requirements. What are their needs? What are they looking for? What do they need? Identify factors that may affect the suitability of the product or the service. Choose and compare products and services to meet the customer's needs. Educate your customer about the product or service. Ingredients is a really good one, like I've mentioned before. Inform the customer of complementary products and services. Doesn't mean a free service, but things that go with it. So, you know, oh, so today we're doing your nails, but when was the last time you had a pedicure? How about next time when you come in and get your infills done, while your nails are drying, make you a nice cup of tea and we'll do your feet for you. Gosh, you're on your feet all day, let's do that. When was the last time you had a facial? Let's get you in for a facial. Gosh, you deserve some you time. Let's give that skin an overhaul. Like, yeah, you want that bum in a chair, and yes, you do want to fill that spot in your booking system, but you do want to do these things for your clients because everyone deserves that little bit of love. Everyone deserves that time to themselves, and sometimes it takes somebody else to go, no, let's do this. Why not? Okay. Always recommend products and services according to legislative requirements, your workplace policies and procedures. So don't ever work outside your scope of practice. Only do what you're qualified to do. You know, for instance, if you've got a pedicure booked in, or you've got nails booked in and you've got a gap afterwards, your employer will be expecting you to try and fill your gap. If the phones haven't rung, the Facebook messages haven't come in, they will expecting some form of add-on to that treatment for that client that's in at 9 till 10. They want you to fill that 10 till 11 gap. Hopefully you'll get a walk-in. Hopefully someone will go, oh, really need my brows doing, oh, I just need a quick, you know, shape and polish or something like that. Brilliant, a quick pedicure or a manicure. But if not, offer it to your client. You've got time. Go, hey, I've just actually had a cancellation after you. Would you like a pedicure? When was the last time you had a pedi? What's the worst they can say? No, not this time, thank you. But you've asked the question. That's all you need to do. Okay. So if you're going to be performing a product demonstration on your client, you need to choose products that are suitable for your client. Okay? You need to talk to them about what their wants and needs are, what their skin concerns are. And I would actually write everything down for them. Ideally, you want to make a sale that day, but I've actually written these down for you. These are things I really quite like you to take home and I recommend for you. Just stick it to your fridge. Here's a sample. You've tried it on the back of your hand, try it on your face, whatever you need to do, and actually show them that product. Get them to smell it, get them to feel it. Don't double dip into a container though, really, really important. When you are using your cuticle oils, cut the brush off your cuticle oil so you're not tempted to use it that way. Use a Q-tip like a cotton bud and only dip once. Use the other end for the other hand. Okay, 2 little bits of advice for you. Otherwise, you're just going to be filling up your containers with someone's skin cells and bacteria. It's gross. So use open and friendly communication with positive body language when we are talking about our products. Keep the information you present short and focused. Ensure you include all the relevant information about products and services. Use visual aids where appropriate. Allow the clients to touch, feel and smell the products when possible. And give information about complementary products and services. And ask questions to ensure everyone's understood the information. Right? Super, super important. You can do product information days. Say you've discovered some beautiful cream that you really want your boss to stock in the salon and you think we could sell this could actually be a really good product. You know, we should really do this, but we really need to train the staff and get the staff passionate about it. So you need to have you can have a staff training session and actually display the product, talk about the product, get the clients and the staff to feel the products and go from there. Okay. It's up to you to give that education, or if you are part of a training session, you absorb that information, you take notes as you go, you feel the products and you think, how does that make me feel? Which is how the client will be made to feel. How can you do things better? Has anybody got any questions? No? Cool. Yeah, just going to go over to any tabs open. Okay, go back. Right. So we've gone through health and safety, we've gone through organisational, financial, we've gone through research the industry, and then we're going to have a little look at provide salon services. Yes, I think we touched through this on our very first session, but for our new students who just jump in, I'm going to go through this. Yes, we did go through this. Okay, so it's really important that you know. So give me some information, ladies, just to confirm the learning. So tell me, how would you try and sell a cuticle oil? Amy, go.
I'd probably start by at least first applying it so they can see how nice it is, how lovely it is, and then ask them, now, you have been using this at home, haven't you? Put it back on them. Oh, no. What do you mean you haven't been? Put the guilt trip on. How about, look, it's only $4. It's nothing. Your nail art was more than that. Let's add it on so you can use it at home so you're following your aftercare properly so you get longer out of those nails.
Love it. Awesome. That's brilliant. Yeah. So we need to make sure that our clients are falling in love with these products. We need to make sure that we are holding our clients accountable, because we're putting in the hard work here. Like, we're working our backsides off to create this gorgeous masterpiece on their nails. And then they just go home and don't do anything and wonder why they lift and wonder why they pop off and all these kind of things. And, you know, it's so important that they are looking after themselves at home. And we need to tell them that. It's just like 80% of your results with your nails are going to happen at home. And I say exactly the same for skin. I'm like, looking after your skin starts at home. I've just done this gorgeous facial on you, and I've been working my bum off to do your extractions, do a peel, do everything, massage, get that lymphatic flow, stimulate that collagen, stimulate your blood flow, and infuse some beautiful ingredients into your skin. And then you do nothing for a month. What's the point? Quite frankly, apart from the fact you're enjoying yourself. It's like, you need to be doing this at home to maintain those results, to keep your skin healthy, to keep your nails healthy, to keep everything healthy. You know, you might go and have a beautiful full body massage and your clients are like, oh, your skin is so dry. Wow. You need to moisturize. And you're like, oh yeah. And then a month later, you go back in, you have another massage. Your body is still really dry. I covered you in oils last time to give you a boost. You need to be doing this at home. You need to take this home. You need to use it. You know, like with waxing, clients that come in and they've got loads of ingrown hairs. It makes your job harder. I'm like, can you, about 3 days after your treatment, start putting this on, put it on every day, get it into your daycare routine, because you will have less ingrowns by the time you come in next month, and you'll be able to see if they are or not. And if you know that they're not, and they've still got heaps of ingrown hairs, or more than what they had before, you'd be like, you're not using that product we told you. It's sat in your cupboard and you haven't used it. And they'll be like, yeah, I know. I bought it. And I'm like, look, you spent money on it. I'm spending my time with you. You need to be doing this stuff at home. I care about you and I'm trying to look after you. but you need to look after yourself at home, because you don't keep me in your bathroom cabinet and you can't just open it and go, Tamsin pops out and goes, put this product on now. It doesn't work like that. It would be nice if it did, but it doesn't. Your clients need to be held accountable for these things. And that's a really good way of making sales, is holding your clients accountable. Okay, and that's nice because it shows your clients that you care about them. And I'm like, yeah, you are trying to get a sale. Of course you're trying to get a sale, but you're doing it in a nice way, and you do genuinely actually care about them, and you do actually want them to get some good results, and you want them to look after those beautiful masterpieces that you've created, because it's going to make the infill so much easier when they come back to you. Okay. And it's going to be a lot more cost effective, because then you're not going to be charging them for replacements and repairs, because they won't have any. They'll just be having a straight infill and redoing their art, which is lovely, which is how it should be. Okay. So yes, looking after their nails. And how would you sell a, Christine, how would you sell a nail file? Perhaps think then, corrected myself. How would you sell like a specific nail file to your clients? What would be the pros and cons? Why do they need their own nail file?
So I would say that the pros would be that when they grow at home, they can file them off a bit. If their lengths start to bother them, they can file it off, or if they're chipped, they can file it off a bit too.
Excellent. Yeah. Absolutely. And I usually get them to buy 2 or 3.
Yeah.
I get 1. I usually buy get them to do like a 3 for the price of 2, or 5 for the price of 3, or something like that. And I'll be like, well, you need 1 at work, you need 1 in your handbag, and you need 1 on your bedside table. Same with the cuticle oil. You need 1 on your bedside table, you need 1 at work. And 1 for a friend. That's usually what I do as well. And I'm like, do any of your friends have their nails done? And they're like, oh, yeah. And I'm like, oh, where do they go? And like, oh, they go down the road. And I'm like, we need to give them this oil and tell them to come and see me. And they come, basically, which is nice, But yeah, it's all personal. So they need a nail file. They need to maintain their own nails at home. In between, they might get a little bit of lifting. They might have been like a tiny little bit of gel or acrylic that you've missed underneath the nail, and if they've got their own file, they can get it. They can nick these weird little bits off. If they chip a corner, or they just want to change the shape a little bit, they can. If they find that the length is a bit too much for them, it's important that we say don't use nail clippers, because nail clippers will shatter the nails. Use a file. I've given you a file. Let's take these nails down if you feel the need. If you're finding it hard to get used to the nails, at least if they got a nail file, they can have a little play around with them themselves before they come and see you. Okay. And then Catherine, a nail strengthener. How would you sell a nail strengthener to a client? Why do they need it?
I would ask them about the nails, if they're looking for one. And if they describe that the nails are weak, I would offer, hey, maybe you should try a nail strengthener to strengthen up your nails.
Yep. Absolutely. So it's nice for them to, you can use a nail strengthener a bit like a clear top coat as well. So to re-secure any gemstones, you can use it on their nails. And also as the nails grow out, that new little bit of nail that grows out, that little gap, by putting a little bit of nail strengthener on there, you're resealing that nail, the artificial nail around that cuticle area. You're re-securing it a little bit to help prevent lifting, but you're also strengthening that new little baby little bit of nail that's there. Okay, which is really good. Okay, so that's one thing I always do. I always retail a nail file, always retail cuticle strengthener, cuticle oil. Quite often I add in a hand cream, and nail glue is the other thing I usually add on as well, which is nice and easy. Okay, so a few different things we can add on to our treatments. All right, so does anybody have any other questions about anything that we've gone through thus far? Does everybody know what they need to be doing? Yeah. You're chipping away at everything nicely, I hope. Let's see if there's anything on here. I've gone through this before. Okay. So things that you can use in regards to what you're doing, in regards to sales techniques, is you can use familiar, persuasive words when you're talking about products. Welcome again, Ruth. Glad you can jump back in again. It's good to see you. And you're not just using cosmetic jargon, okay? So you can use words like discover, easy, love, health, new, proven results, and safe, okay? Rather than just economical, high-tech, modern, improved, quality, or superior. You know, it's like speaks more to the soul a little bit. And people want results, you know, people want a stronger nail plate. They want to create health within proven results and actually keep their nails on for longer, keep them looking perfect. All right. Building non-verbal rapport. So we can directly mirror our clients, follow exact body movements and posture. This is how really good, it's a really good sales technique, because then it's as if you become one with your client. Crossover mirroring, following body movement with a different pose. So by changing the way that you sit or stand, keeps interest, okay, because it keeps their eyes moving, which means that they have to concentrate on you because you're moving. Some clients object, they don't want it. That's fine. But a lot of the time you can easily sell to a client. Easy. Some people just are asking for you to justify the price of the product or the service. You haven't given the client enough information for them to really want it, and they're not sold on it yet. But also objections can be emotional objections. In other words, it's not the product that the people are rejecting, it's what's not agreeing to the sale that's been represented to them. So some reasons for objections. The financial risk-reward ratio is not great enough. So the benefits need to outweigh the money spent, work back to their need and product benefits. You know, it's like what Amy was saying, are your nails not worth it? Is your skin not worth it? Your client is afraid to make a decision. So he uses different sensory techniques. So use touch and smell, get into the emotions of it. Your client's suspicious. Use all the rapport in building that trust. You may not get that sale next time, but you might get it the time after that. Build that trust and never use it. Never under promise and over deliver. Sorry, under promise and over deliver. So you don't want to over promise. Okay, so your clients want absolute proof that the product is what you present it to be. Prove it to me. And this is where your product knowledge and communication is priceless. Use your friends and other clients' experiences to get examples of results. So for me, I'm really, really good at selling LED light treatments to clients because it can benefit everybody. I believe in my product. And that is the big difference. A client will know if you don't believe in your product, or it's not even believing in a product. If you don't believe in yourself, they won't believe you. Okay. So for instance, for me, I will say to a client, have you ever had LED light therapy before? And they'll be like, no, I don't know what that is. And I'm like, oh, so you've never been put under like a great big bright red light? They're like, no. Really? How long have you been coming to the salon? And they're like, oh, like 3 years. And no one's told you about this amazing technology. And they're like, no. I'm like, what can I tell you about this amazing technology that I think would be really good for your skin? And they're like, oh, yeah, what is it? And I was like, well, it was developed by NASA. You know, it's used up in space. It's amazing. It increases our healing rate quite dramatically. Okay. I actually broke my foot years ago in a paragliding accident, and I used it every day on my foot. My bruising went down within 3 days, and my bones knitted together, and I've had no issues with my foot whatsoever since. In fact, I think that foot is stronger than the one that I didn't use a light on. But in regards to skin aging, which is what we're trying to prevent with you today, and that's one of your skin concerns, it actually has the power to directly go into this light, penetrates into the deeper layers of your skin. It stimulates your fibroblast cells, which are responsible for collagen and elastin production. Therefore, over time, it's a bit like going to the gym. Like the first time you feel like, oh, you feel a little bit better for going, but you can't really see massive results. But the more you have it done, you know, you feel a lot better for it. And I said, it's also a natural antidepressant. Brilliant. So over time, the skin's going to look plumper and richer and much more vibrant than if you didn't do it at all. We can add it onto any facial whatsoever. In fact, you can just pop in your lunch break, have a little face wipe, take your makeup off and jump under the light. It's only an extra $65 on your treatment. Should we add that on today? And they go, yes. Or maybe next time. Okay, that's fine. There's lots of different things that we can do, but your product knowledge and the way you communicate things will get you your sale. Right? I've got chat. What products will you receive? So Ruth, in regards to your products that you're going to be receiving as part of this course, it depends. I think one of the next chapters that we are going to be doing, when you go on to do acrylic, you get an acrylic kit. You also get a nail art kit when we go to do nail art, and you also get a gel kit as well. And then when you go on to do manicure and pedicure, you'll get a manicure and pedicure kit. Manicure and pedicure kit too, but you don't get all of them at the same time. You get them before each term starts, like each subject starts, so that you can start doing your clients. Hope that's helpful, but it's probably a good idea to get some nail art bits and pieces before, so that way you can add them at other times, and your teacher will go through different bits of nail art before the actual nail art section, so you've already done a little bit as well, which is quite good. Okay. That was helpful. All right, so let's have a look at attitude. So how do you handle an objection? Don't invest into the situation with your self-worth. Products and services get turned down. Don't take it personally. They're not turning you down. They're turning the products down. Right? Still like you. They just don't want it there and then. That's fine. But you've planted the seed. You might get the sale next time. You know, I've had a client in 3 times before, and she's always been adamant that she's not getting any products. And every time she comes in, I'm like, you're still using the products, aren't you? And she's like, yeah. And I'm like, I'm doing all these gorgeous treatments on you, and you won't use my day cream. I was like, can I give you a sample of it this time? What can I do? She's like, it's just not in my budget. And I'm like, this cream is going to last you months and months and months and months. I said, it's not really going to work out much different. I said, it's a bigger investment to begin with. I said, but your skin is going to love you for it. Like, it's going to be, your skin will change. and your skin will feel as if I'm giving you a facial almost every day. And that's how it is, you know. Whereas the cream that you are using from the supermarket at the moment, you're getting little blackheads, and your exfoliator that you're using is not effective enough. Like, you shouldn't be having blackheads every single time that you come and see me. They should be gone by now. You know, these little lines here are to do with hydration. Your product isn't hydrating enough for your skin. I want to make your skin really nice and plump and beautiful. I want to keep it how it is when you leave the salon. Okay, 80% of your results come from your home care. But that's fine, because I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing, and I'm still going to keep giving you lots of love when you come in for your facials and that kind of thing, and that's fine. But I would love if you used your products at home properly and actually invested in your skin, because you're investing in me, but you need to invest in your skin at home. Your skin deserves it. Okay. Make sure you believe in the benefits of the product before you try to sell to your customer. If you don't believe in it yourself, how can you expect your customer to believe in it too? Product knowledge and communication with your clients and your fellow therapists is vital. Okay. Remember, you need to let your clients make the decision. At the end of the day, it's participation, not manipulation. So we're inviting the clients to invest in themselves, to invest in their skin, to invest in their nails, whatever it is that you're trying to retail to them. But also never dismiss an objection. Your customer raises it for a reason. If you don't acknowledge it, you'll get the tug of war over who's right, and they'll just shut down, and the salesperson will never win. Rebuild the rapport by using the match and mirror technique. Use their reference points for the objection to start your answer with the benefits and persuasive words. For example, the client objects to upgrading their Ampule therapy to an Institute facial, so upgrading their facial. Sample response: the extra value in upgrading to this other facial means that you're going to receive more intensive results in a quicker period of time. It incorporates professional products that aren't directly available for home care and are only used in our spa and salon treatments. So you're getting a better quality treatment on your skin from our more advanced range skincare. Uncover the intent behind their objections. They may have nothing to do with the merits of the product, and make sure they are committed to filling their need. Things you can ask the client are, is that all there is getting in the way of you using this product? Okay. You need to tell your client that you're solving their needs. Price concerns. An objection based on price is a person's perception that the value of the product or the service is not worth the cost. You can ask the client, does the cost seem out of proportion to this product's value for you? In this case, probe for the needs that have not been discussed. Sometimes when a client is focused on price, they lose track of long-term benefits. Close when your client wants to buy, not when you want to sell. So don't start putting things into the POS machine and then start talking about products. You need to do it before you're even going to post that transaction through. The best time to close is after successfully handling an objection. So for instance, you've said to them that all these beautiful benefits of the product. Shall we put one of those in the bag today for you? Let's get you started on this product. How does that sound? And I always say, and we have Afterpay too. Your skin has responded so beautifully to this product, and from what you've told me, I think it's perfect for you. And proceed with processing the sale. You can put, I recommend X, Y, and Z. Or you can put the benefits, list the benefits of the product, and if there's no objections, process the sale. If required, you could also list the pros and cons to show how the pros outweigh the cons. And the ultimatum or your last chance to close. Your skin without the product is not going to feel this good in a week's time. If you're using these products at home, your skin is going to feel lovely. Let's get your skin fit. That's my main aim of the game. I'm on this journey with you for your skin. This offer is available for a limited time. Quite often when there's a gift with purchase, people say, oh, how long is the gift with purchase offer on? And I said, well, I've only got 4 on the shelf and it's 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And we've got 5 therapists on today doing treatments all day. And I was like, that's all we've got. And I can't put them aside for you. So let's make that sale. Let's get it done. That way you've got it. You don't have to come back and you've got it. You can go home and start using it tonight and you can continue those results now. And the other thing is the continual yes close. So ask the client a series of questions that all have a yes response. Can you see how soft your skin is? Can you feel how soft your skin looks? Can you imagine yourself with skin like this every day? So you'll be taking the day cream home with you today. Yes. Brilliant. Okay. Different ways you can close a sale. All right. I hope that's all been really helpful to you. Does anybody have any other questions before I sign off? No, you're all going well. So homework this week, make sure that you are chipping away at your policies and procedures manual, get those 13 research questions done. I want those in by the end of the week. Midnight Sunday is your due date for these 2 tasks. Start filling out your beauty services assessment task 1 in your beauty services cluster, the beauty log. If you do have a workplace, try and get your boss to fill it out for any work you have done thus far, where you're processing sales and dealing with customers and all that kind of thing as well, because that all counts towards work experience. All right. Does anybody have any questions before I go? Because we're signing off very shortly. Everybody good? I like that. Thanks, Ruth. Too easy. Well, I'm going to sign off. I'm going to let you get on with your day. I think I've waffled on and given you more than enough information for one session. If you do want to jump on and have a little conversation with me afterwards, just stay online, that's fine. But any of the rest of you can log off now if you want to, and I will catch up with you next week. I'm going to put all the information about homework in the discussions page and go through everything that we've covered today. And for those who couldn't join us live, which is exciting. But yeah, you can go when you're ready.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No worries. Bye for now. Cool. Too easy.